beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Gianna Lian, and today I have a book tag for you guys. So I actually saw Steph Bohrers. I don't want to pronounce her name wrong because I love watching her, but she created a book tag and one of you guys actually messaged me to check it out and see if I can make a video out of it. So today I will be using Steph's book tag that she used for her book recommendations and giving you guys some of my recommendations using her questions. So all credit obviously goes to Steph, and you guys should definitely go check out her video. I'll have a link down below if you guys are interested, but I'm excited to answer all these questions because she came up with some really good ones. So the first one is a book you tell people is your favorite. And if you guys have been following me on this channel and watching some of my videos, you guys know that this one's a no-brainer. But it obviously has to be I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, because ever since I read this book, it is still my favorite book of all time. Something happened to me when I read this book. It just was so moving and everything about it was just perfection. And I don't know, maybe if I'm biased because I personally love Jeanette as a person, but her book just blew me away. It was so touching and written so beautifully. It just was everything. So when I get asked this question, this is the one that I have to pick. Next is a book that is your guilty pleasure. And I kind of had a hard time coming up with a book recommendation for this one, but when I thought about it a little bit more, it definitely has to be the Mind series, like any of the books from the Mind series, because this is one of the series that I can say I absolutely adore. It is so different from everything else, but it's super dark, and the whole trope and whole storyline is so different, so a lot of people might judge me on it. Just the action in this book, the romance in this book, and having a dark female character, like she's the bad guy, kind of just feels empowering in a way, and it's so interesting to read about. So that is the one that I will have to choose for this one, and I highly recommend you guys go read this series because it's gonna take you on a whole roller coaster that you're not gonna want to miss. Next is a book that everyone loved but you didn't. Please do not come for me for this. I'm sorry. I don't know why I hated this book so much. I don't know why, but don't hate me when I show you, okay? But it has to be Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. This was one of the first books that I read starting to get back into reading last year, and I had such high hopes for this book, especially with all the hype that I saw like all over the book community, but I just couldn't get into this. I know a lot of people have said that this book is for specific tastes or is targeted towards a specific audience, but I don't know what it was about this. I think maybe I just got bored. Maybe I just didn't fall in love with the author's writing. There was just something about this book that didn't sit right with me, and I just didn't enjoy it at all, which is upsetting because I do know that Kathleen does have some other books. Maybe I'll give her another chance, but this is one that I don't recommend, just in my personal opinion. But next we have a book you read the fastest. Now I actually have two recommendations here because a lot of people have different tastes. So the first one I have is The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, and this is a part of a series, but specifically I read this one the fastest. I don't know why, maybe because it's such a short book, but I flew through it. I didn't want to put this book down at all. It is YA, and it is more on the younger side, if that makes sense. I just fell in love with the writing. I thought it was such a cute read. I read this right when summer was hitting, so it was absolutely perfect for that time frame. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. The rest of the trilogy, questionable, but this one, highly recommend. It was my favorite out of the 3. And another one that I read so fast was Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris, and I read this just recently, actually, during February, but there was something about this book that just had me hooked, and I just wanted to know what was going on. It is like a psychological thriller, so it definitely had me on the edge of my seat the whole time and wanting to know what was going on. The writing style in it was amazing. This book just, I don't know, it had me under a spell to finish it for some reason, and I read this book, I'm pretty sure, in like less than 2 days. I was just so hooked to it. The next question is a book that deserves more hype. I also just explained this one in a recent video, but Finley Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano. 5 out of 5 stars. I have never enjoyed a cozy mystery / murder mystery more than this one in my life. This one was so special to me. The characters in it were everything. The whole plot was everything. It was just structured so good. I can't even explain to you guys how much I love this book. Like, we'd be here for hours. This one definitely needs more hype. It's a trilogy. I don't know if there's any more books coming out in the series, but so far it's a trilogy and you just have to pick it up. I'm telling you guys, you will not regret it. I think that it just needs more hype. It did receive some attention, but in my opinion, not enough. Next is a book that is becoming a movie / TV show. I actually don't have the book with me because my friend's borrowing it, but this one already actually came out as a TV series, but it's Tell Me Lies by Carola Lovering. But the TV show looks so interesting, and I'm not too sure when it came out, but it's fairly new, and I've been wanting to watch the TV show because of how much I loved the book so much. I just don't have Hulu. If any of you guys know where I can subscribe to Hulu and watch it, or if there's another website I can watch it at, let me know, because I need to watch the show and see if I like the show as much as I liked the book. But with the book, we have like a toxic romance that is so back and forth and has so much drama and just so much going on at once. It keeps you so entertained. So hopefully the show is exactly like that. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to watch it if I figure out where I can, and I also recommend you guys all to read that one as well. Next is a book you reread the most, and I've actually only reread a book once. I mean, I don't have many to choose from, but I reread it for a reason. And it is Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. I actually haven't talked about this book on my channel in a really long time. Don't worry, I didn't forget about it, because this book is my second favorite book I've read of all time, and the only one that I've managed to get around to rereading. I obviously want to reread a lot of my favorites and annotate them, but this book is super cool. It's set in the 1970s. It gives all those vibes, and it's just general fiction, but it has found family in it and lots of coming of age, which was so nice to read about. And you're gonna fall in love with every single one of the characters. They all have so much character depth, and I personally fell in love with Izzy, the little girl in here. She is the cutest stinking thing ever. But yeah, this one was just so enjoyable, and it's definitely a book that I probably will reread a third time because of how much I absolutely adore it. Next question on our list, a book from a genre you don't typically read. For this one, I also have 2 recommendations. I couldn't just pick one. For the first one, I have Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. And this is a really known author. I know she's very popular on Instagram for all of her work, but specifically this one, when I picked it up, obviously poetry is not a genre that I typically read, as you guys may know from my channel, but I picked this up on a whim, and honestly, I did not regret it. I rated this 5 out of 5 stars, and honestly, everything in this book was just so touching, and I think even though it's more like Instagram-y poetry, if you want to call it that, all the poems in here were so well written, and they were like short and sweet, if that makes sense. So I really enjoyed this, and I definitely wouldn't have picked it up if I stayed in my comfort zone. So I definitely don't regret reading this, and I think that it needs more hype, especially poetry as a genre as a whole. It definitely needs a lot more hype than it gets. And another book that I picked up out of my comfort zone, I don't really recommend this one, but it's Six of Crows by Leah Bardugo, and fantasy is just not my genre. I haven't found a fantasy book that I've fallen in love with to be able to pick up more fantasy, but this is one that I picked up just on a whim as well. Again, I don't really know why I did, but I kind of regret it. But I know a lot of people really love this, so I'm still giving you guys the recommendation for it because of how much everyone loves it. I think maybe I just didn't because I personally can't get into fantasy, but for all the fantasy lovers out there, I definitely do recommend this book because it is really cool, and the whole world building is pretty insane, and all the characters are pretty good. So I'm still gonna recommend it to you guys, even though I personally really didn't like it, because I think it's still a really good fantasy read. Next is a book that deserves all the hype it gets, and I actually don't have this one either, but it is Verity by Colleen Hoover. This one I think deserves all the hype that it gets because it is still probably one of the craziest books that I've read. It was so fast paced, and Colleen Hoover's writing just has me hooked right from the jump, and her writing just flows so amazingly. I don't know what it is about her books, but they just hook me and make me want to pick up all of them. Verity specifically is a psychological thriller. It's insane. It's gonna have you on the edge of your seat, and the best part about it is like it leaves you thinking two different things and you don't know which one to think and which one's right, which I felt was so fun when reading the book. I was just always going from one side to the other, and it was just really chaotic, and I really enjoyed it, and definitely with all the hype that it gets, it is well deserved. Colleen slayed that. Next is a book you usually recommend when asked to give a recommendation to someone. This is actually more of a little summary read, but it's definitely one that I recommend a lot to people, but it's Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. And honestly, I read this a long time ago and it still is one of my favorite books. It has all the summer vibes in it, and just the settings and aesthetic of the whole entire book just made me feel so happy. It warmed my heart, and not only that, but the romance in here. Sam is still one of my favorite book boyfriends there is, and I don't know, this book just made me feel so happy and put me in such a great mood. I also read this one so fast as well because of how much I was enjoying it. So if you want a good little summery read, especially right now in the winter season, I might reread this because I need to get those summery vibes back, you know, get me excited for summer coming. If you're looking for something like that, I highly recommend this book. Okay, next is a book that has your favorite characters. This one's also literally a no-brainer, but it's Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Lily and Lo just have my whole entire heart. They are my favorite book couple, characters, literally everything in the whole entire world. I'm just obsessed with them, and yeah, I just fell in love with them right from the beginning. I can't wait to see what happens in the rest of the series with them, but I know a lot of people love them as a couple, and I had to choose them. Like, it's a no-brainer. I just had to. Next is A Book You Wish You Could Live In, and I also had a hard time choosing this one as well, but once I really thought about it, I knew exactly what one I was gonna choose, and that has to be There's Something About Mary by Cody Hall. And honestly, I know you guys are gonna laugh at me because this is a Christmas book, but I love Christmas, and if I could live in a book where it's Christmas every single day, sign me up, because that sounds perfect. Not only that, but everything about this book, the settings, and just the whole vibe and feel of this book was amazing. Like, if you want a book that feels exactly like Christmas, gives you all those Christmas vibes, this is your winner right here. I'm telling you right now. It is a bigger Christmas book, which kind of intimidated me when I was reading it, but trust me, you're gonna wish that this book was longer because, oh, it was just so perfect for Christmas, and I would love to live in this book. Made me so happy, and oh my gosh, snow just fell from my roof. Anyways, I really recommend this one. Another question is a book you thought you would hate but ended up loving. And it's kind of a funny story by Ned Vizzini. And I honestly picked this one up on a whim as well. Wasn't expecting to like it at all, because I'm pretty sure this one's YA, which is surprising because of how like dark it is. But I honestly really enjoyed this book. I think the author did an amazing job talking about the topics that are dealt with in this book, and I just had a really great time. It has so much dark humor in it, which I like occasionally, but in this instance I really did enjoy it and thought that it brought the whole book together. And like I said, with the topics that are dealt with in this book, it is super dark, but I think that the author also taught a lot of important lessons, and it was really nice to see someone's story going through the things that they were going through and like how they were dealing with them. It was just a really good story. We're down to the last few questions, but this one is a book that made you cry. Now, I've mentioned this a few times, but I still have not found a book that has made me cry. It's really weird. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. I honestly don't know the reason. But the book that has almost made me cry, so close, so close, was This Is Where It Ends by Mary Ninchkump. Can't pronounce her name. I'm so sorry. This book is a lot. It pulls on your heartstrings. It is so dark. It is so gruesome. It is so heartbreaking. Like, even just thinking about this book, when I read it, you're gonna be in for a wild ride. And if you pick up this book, you better be prepared because it is just so devastating. Honestly, even knowing the plot and knowing what you're getting into for this book, it still just shocks you. And you're like, what am I reading right now? Because it is just so sad. And that's like the only thing I can say about this book, is because you just have to read it, because I don't want to give too much away. But it's just how the book was written and all the details within the book. And the last question on Steph's list is a book you wish you could read for the first time again. Now, obviously, if I really had to choose one that I haven't already recommended, it would definitely be I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. But if I'm recommending a new one, it would definitely be The Silent Patient. I don't remember his name, the author's name, so I'll put it up on the screen. But I also don't have this because someone is borrowing it. But this one is definitely one of those books that is more of like a one-time read because of how crazy it is. And once you kind of know the plot twist, you kind of know what's coming. But this one caught me by surprise. I was shocked by the ending. It completely blindsided me, honestly. I was so oblivious. I have never ever felt more oblivious in my life because the plot twist was right in front of me the whole entire time. Even after I found out the plot twist and how shocked I was just so impressed with the whole structure of the book and how the author did such an amazing job hiding it, especially because, like I said, it was right in front of my face. But honestly, this is also another psychological thriller, and it is just crazy. You have a main character that shot her husband 5 times in the face and then never spoke a word again. Then you have a psychotherapist where he's trying to get her to talk, and just a whole bunch of things just blow up in your face, and it's just insane. So if I could read this for the first time again, I would definitely choose this one because of how crazy of a ride it was and how it literally made me feel speechless. Definitely have to recommend that one. But yeah, those are all the questions that Steph had on her post, and wow, I feel like I got so many good book recommendations out to you guys. I really hope that you guys found some new ones and maybe are interested in picking them up because, like I said, you're not gonna regret it. Every single book that I've recommended to you is definitely one that you're gonna enjoy. I'm telling you that right now. Definitely let me know if you guys have read any of these books before and kind of your thoughts on them. I would love to know your guys' opinions. But yeah, this was really fun. If you guys want more book tags in here or book recommendations in general, let me know because I would love to give that to you guys. And yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys today. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff you guys know how to do. And with that, I hope you guys are having an amazing, wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Please don't mind my cat meowing. Is my face getting red? We good. My feet are asleep and it hurts so bad. Where'd it go? Did I forget to bring it down here? Hello?